Let's move beyond silos and solutions in search of a problem. Let's build a culture where experimentation is thought through, inclusive, and above all, ethical. Hello and welcome. Today, we will walk along my journey on how we can be superheroes of user experience. My name is Namrata. I work at LeoVegas Group as staff product designer and previously led design teams at Swedish telecom giant Tele2 and startups Buddy Company and Understatement. While I'm not working, I usually paint. I've had 2 exhibitions this year. Whenever I get time, I hold craft workshops for underprivileged children. And I'm an amateur conference and podcast speaker. I assume you all would be wondering, what is ethical experimentation? Well, it's not just about running tests, but about running the right tests. Let's go deeper to understand the why behind it. During my time at these companies, I've learned that roadmaps are filled with new features planned to release over the year. The business cases are so lucrative that many believe that path to growth is a pile of feature releases over time and we can grow. But that's a myth. Releasing new features alone is not path of growth. We need to do continuous improvements alongside. Together, they will lead to path of growth and success. I'm saying this because often the releases that reach end user are super duper MVP. That's minimal viable product. There are multiple reasons behind why we build a super duper MVP. It could be lack of resources, lack of time to market, and yada yada. These super duper MVPs often include compromises and are filled with assumptions. Therefore, we heavily rely on qual, quant, and experimentation to ensure the assumptions are data-backed. Now let's narrow our scope on experimentation. I am a big fan of experimentation. There's nothing quite like the thrill of seeing real user data validate or shatter our assumptions. This is the typical process for experimentation. Project managers and CRO team up with product design and engineering. But while we debate metrics at CRO conferences, something fundamental often gets overlooked: the role of product design and engineering in experimentation. Too often, design and engineering is treated as an afterthought or a resource to pull the experimentation through. Draw the solution, code the solution. But real experimentation starts much earlier and goes much deeper. Because user journeys are not linear, they're cyclical. Many people fail to see this. Therefore, if we combine our superpowers and blind spots, we can reach our North Star. Here's why. There are different types of stakeholders. Hippos, highest paid person's opinion; zebra, zero evidence but highly arrogant; goose, the ones who are guesstimating, overly optimistic scheduling estimates, and many more. All these stakeholders and everyone in the team have concerns and opinion. Everyone focuses on solutions. This creates a silo trap. Such stakeholders love to approach issues in silos, focusing on a single metric or isolated features, without considering its ripple effects across the whole user journey. But ethical experimentation means asking, are we running the right tests? It's not just about technical rigor or ticking off business goals. Many hypotheses and ideas are often based on competitors. This competitor have it, we should too. But has the competitor tested? Is it doing well for them? We don't know. Ethical experimentation is the balance between user and business needs. Making sure business objectives don't overpower user experience. Websites and apps exist first and foremost for users. If we lose sight of that, the whole experimentation loses meaning. Here is an example hypothesis. If we replace the form field on dark mode to light mode, it'll help increase the completion rate. I'll give you a second to think on what it should have been if thought ethically. Such hypotheses may lead to ripple effect across design systems, aesthetics, etc. When we excavate for the right problem, instead of blindly adhering to the solution suggested in the hypothesis, it could lead to the form looking like this. Some of you are correct. The underlying problem is indeed bad color contrast. We should fix that and not replace it. Here's another example. In this hypothesis, by having a clear and visible pop-up for opt-in to other brands, users will be more likely to accept cross-marketing because it'll stand out more. Did you think the same? Adding a pop-up is such an obvious solution to many. But when we involve design and engineering early on, since they work on end-to-end flows and user scenarios, the user journey may have many messages for the user already. They could see multiple overlapping messages, and as I call it, raining pop-ups. This silo thinking leads to fragmented, sometimes harmful experiences for our users. We would have saved many days, which we spent on this hypothesis, planning, and prioritizing because a Zebra stakeholder wanted it. On lighter note, as T.N. Rasmussen said on Silo Trap, that aligning expectations are more important than inflating them. Otherwise, just as those hypotheses, we will continue building roads and trees, with trees standing tall in middle. So what can we do to avoid such traps and work ethically? To start with, I want to quote Jared Spool. We often think that users don't like change. Yet, users go through small and big changes all day long. What users don't like are breaking changes, sudden interruptions, blockers, bad surprises, changes that they don't understand and can't see any value in. Therefore, incorporate ethical experimentation because it's about building experimentation into daily practice, validating bold solutions, and with iterative smaller tests, and encouraging every team member to contribute, not just analysts or PMs, but product, marketing, design, tech. Collaboration breaks silos, connects the dots, and ensures that experiments serve users as much as business goals. Ethical experimentation isn't about running more A/B tests or chasing quick wins. It's about humility, curiosity, and respect for the people who use our products. Let's move beyond silos and solutions in search of a problem. Let's build a culture where experimentation is thought through, inclusive, and above all, ethical.
My name is Romo Santiago, founder of Experiment Nation. Our new book, Prove It or Lose It, the mostly no-nonsense guide to surviving experimentation program drama, is out now. Find it at experimentnation.com and all major bookstores today.
If we add these building blocks, the hypothesis we build will be more ethical. We should ask the person who made the hypothesis for more details. What is the goal for the test? What is the root problem that they are trying to solve? Is that the right problem? Will it have any ripple effect? Is there any data behind the hypothesis? And what is the level of confidence? I have built 2 workshop formats and have worked to align and build experimentation more ethical. First one is based on James Clear analogy. Are you dealing with a leak or just a puddle? Some problems are like muddy puddles. The way to clear a muddy puddle is to just leave it alone. The more you mess with it, the muddier it becomes. Many of the problems I dream up when I'm overthinking or worrying or ruminating fall into this category. So go do something else and give the puddle time to clear. Other problems are like leaky ceilings. Ignore a small leak and it will always widen. Leaky ceilings are hidden structural problems that get worse and more expensive the longer you ignore them. Mopping up a puddle may feel productive, but if you never fix the leak, you are in trouble down the line. I further divide the leaky puddles using another format called Stinky Fish. With the Stinky Fish workshop, we map all the leaky ceilings because we tend to shove uncomfortable problems and ideas onto the back burner, hoping they'll magically solve themselves. Spoiler, they don't. That's why I love running the Stinky Fish workshop, something I've brought to 2 different workplaces. The idea is simple. The longer you ignore an issue, the stinkier it gets. The workshop helps teams identify, surface, and prioritize those neglected problems before they become unmanageable or a leaky ceiling. Here's an example on how it looks. With those workshops, we were able to build hypotheses. An example is this hypothesis. I believe by explicitly adding labels to icons would not only improve accessibility, but also lead to higher conversion. This test led to 4% increase in clicks. However, the conversion rate for such users increased by 15%. And this one, where sales increased by 9% by explicitly stating the data amount instead of the word double data. And this, where we removed a placeholder amount in the deposit form field, enabled the button, which led to increased deposits initialized by 20% and deposit success increased by 21%. Building a hypothesis for an assumed solution X won't solve the underlying problem Y. The X and Y problem, as it is sometimes called, occurs when a person tries to solve a problem on their own, pursues a method that seems like a promising approach, gets stuck, and then asks for help with their chosen method instead of asking help with the original problem. Remaining open to having a new look at the bigger picture might help such people to accept just being handed the solution to X instead be directed to alternatives, which might be more practical by far, or being assured that the particular approach they've been working on doing this is unsuitable. Since design and engineering work with holistic user journeys, they can help with understanding the right problem and breaking silos. So let's rethink experimentation. Let's be the superheroes of user experience, championing design, aligning our tests with real user needs, fixing leaks, not just puddles, and never letting the stinky fish fester in our teams.
My name is Romo Santiago, founder of Experimentation.
I'm excited to
Our
bring
new
this
book, Prove It or
methodology
Lose
to
It, the mostly
experimentation.
no-nonsense guide
And
to
thanks for
surviving
sticking with
experimentation
me
program drama
and
is out
watching
now.
all the way through.
Find it at
Enjoy
experimentation.com
rest of the
and all major
presentations.
bookstores today.